And it's at this very moment, ladies and gentlemen, that Luthais remembered building up the quad at the scrapyard. And then he remembered he drove his mountain bike there. So his mountain bike is not at the naval base. His mountain bike is all the way at the scrapyard. Oh well, we still need to tell people if attributes are leveling up faster after the update or not. So let's do a quick scroll. Let's do a quick stroll through 5 sectors. At least we'll probably hit 5 strength and probably 5 constitution by the time we get there. You guys might think, Luth, you're gonna run across the entire map. Why add all this weight to you? Because if I'm gonna run across the entire map, I'm gonna make sure I get the maximum gain. And I get free loot. Did you guys know the boombox takes up a heck of a lot of space in your inventory, but it only weighs 0.6 kilograms? I think that's gonna be a nice addition to my base. Well, one thing it's gonna do, it's definitely gonna slow down the speed at which I get there because of my weight. But let's get going. Now, while I'm running across the map, it's important for me to give you guys some tips. When you're running 15 kilometers with a loaded backpack to get to a bicycle, to show your community the accurate information about the placebo effect, where everyone thinks their strength and their constitution is building up faster than previously. You have to make sure you don't waste any time. So the first thing I do is whenever I run in the open, I'm in third person to see a little bit more. The second thing is I always rest when I get to 30% as soon as my stamina bar goes red. And the third thing is, as soon as you run into a forest, you can't see what you're going to hit because you're in third person. So I go into first person and then I strafe left and right to miss all the logs and all the trees, because every single tree and log you hit wastes valuable time in your journey to run across the map. But as you guys can see, we've already covered half a sector, or more than half a sector from the airfield. And I'll just give you a quick example. So now we're running into a forest. I can see this stone in front of me, but I'm sidestepping it. But I don't know what's on the other side of this bush. So I'm going into first person, looking at the ground, making sure I'm not looking at the sky, looking at the ground, and making sure I don't hit anything, because that's going to slow. Like if there's trees in front of me, I just sidestep it and I go back to where I was. Okay, the rock, I'm going to hit rock, so I'm going to slow down because of the rock. So I'm just sidestepping, not changing my angle that I'm running at, and I'm just making sure that I don't hit anything, so that I never slow down, so that I'm keeping at the 75-degree marker. And then now and then when I hit the town, I will sidestep all the way around the town so that I don't run into any NPCs or puppets or anything that's going to distract me. Now you guys might say, Luth, it definitely looks like the small airfield distracted you. Yes, it did. But I knew that I'm not carrying the right amount of weight to maximize my strength constitution gain, and I knew that the chances that I'm going to get like an airplane kit was quite good. The other stuff I got was just a bonus. But from now on, I'm not looting anymore. I am full. I have reached my weight, got a cool radio for when I get home. And in case you were wondering, this is 5 o'clock in the morning, IRL, when I have to start streaming in 7 hours. So I'm probably going to get about 5 hours of sleep. Although I did move the stream time up by 2.5 hours, so I'll still probably just get about 6 hours of sleep. Ask yourself, if this was your server and you were helping the community, would you not put that 64-bit Steam ID in there just to skip this, since you're doing it for a video? Only you can answer that. But never say, I don't go the distance for you guys. Because I do. If you don't get that, I do go the distance. And I do intense research. Thank you. At least I'll be getting to water very soon, because I got rid of my only water source, that was the cabbage. Are you serious, Luth? You didn't bring any water with you? Yes, I'm serious. I did not bring any water with me. I only brought the cabbage because I thought the cabbage would be enough, but I needed to throw away the cabbage for the loot that I picked up. But I do have rice with me in case of emergencies. But at least I'll get to a water source pretty quickly. And very, very interesting, I'm testing the exhaustion as well. Because they say when I'm running, I'm basically increasing my exhaustion by 54 units per hour. And when I look at my clock, it's 5:30 in the morning now. When I look at my clock between the base, because I slept at the base, so I had zero exhaustion, between the base, the naval base, and now the scrapyard, I think I'm gonna get quite close to at least 40 exhaustion. So the 54 exhaustion might be accurate if you just run on level ground all the time, but because I'm running downhill and uphill, which probably increases and decreases the exhaustion rate, I think I'll probably end up at about 40 exhaustion by the time I get to my mountain bike. We'll see. But I definitely feel I'll hit the 54 exhaustion by the time I get back to base with the mountain bike. So we're testing a lot of things before we prove the placebo effect wrong of people thinking that their strength and their constitution are increasing faster than it used to. Well, I will never, we are here at the bridge, so we just have to cross that bridge and then we'll get there. I will never look at cabbage the same ever again, guys. Ever again. Like, you don't really get respect for something until you go through something like this. Because when I threw down the cabbage at the small airfield, you guys will see that it had one use left. So out of 3 single uses from a cabbage, I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5. I ran 5.5 sectors. And my water is only at 31% now. With 3 uses from a cabbage. Cabbage will be looked at differently from now on. Don't you guys agree? Only about one more sector. And we'll get there. How are my shoes? My shoes, I repaired my shoes before I left. My shoes lost 33% of durability. That's quite a lot for military shoes. But in any case. Let's go, soldier. Let's go. Finally. Well, I won't put you guys through the torture of me pedaling all the way back home before we start with the official experiment, which we've got solid data on. But I just wanted you guys to be part of the journey. Don't be angry, okay? Don't be angry. Don't say I wasted your time. We experienced it together. I just want to know you guys are here with me. That's all. Okay? I mean, we are a family, aren't we? So experiencing my travel across the map. Wasn't that bad, was it? Sorry. One more thing. Okay? Before I go all the way back home. I was right. We did officially hit 5 strength. Still a very long way away from 5 constitution, but we did hit 5 strength. So now I can officially reward myself by buying the vehicle of my choice. And oh man, is that cruiser sound gonna feel good. You guys might ask, Luth, how are you gonna buy a cruise? You've only got $5,000 in the bank. Have you got any idea how much a cruiser costs? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do. But the people that watch my stream every day will know exactly how I'm gonna buy the cruiser. With the places I've looted. And one of the places I'm gonna loot again. Just to show you guys how great it is. But that will be later in the video. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The quad that we built up, the plane that we stole, and Old Faithful. Literally called Old Faithful. Better repair my darling. Better repair him really, really quickly because he has been with me on this journey right from the very beginning. So losing him will not be good. Losing him will not be good. I thought we could repair the chassis. Oh, no, that needs a vehicle repair kit. Sorry. So if we just put this back in here. And we get a vehicle repair kit. You can literally just right click on the picture above and repair the chassis. It always focuses on the chassis. Can't repair the wheels like that, like you have to look at the wheels. But if you want to repair your chassis really, really quickly, just look at the little picture up above. Okay, if it confuses you. So, it is 6 o'clock in the morning in game. It is 6:30 a.m. IRL. I've been running and pedaling for an hour and a half, and according to the stats, I have gained 57 stamina units of exhaustion, which I feel is correct because I rested, like lie down, about 50 times, and there were uphills and downhills, so I wasn't like running non-stop for an hour and a half. Okay, so the burn rate or the change rate that they give you while you're running full speed actually helps. But now you guys saw me picking corn at that cornfield, and I never leave a cornfield that gives me 6 corn in such a short period of time. So that's a really, really lucky cornfield for me. And yeah, the people that don't watch the stream every day, if you guys were wondering, like, how the heck is Luth going to get 20,000 bucks so easily? Well, I've got BMG there. I've got BMG there with an abandoned bunker that I did. I've got 2 night visions over there. I've got backpack, which is tier 2 quest. I've got night vision, which is a tier 2 quest. But that's nothing. That's nothing. In the quad, which I call Toothless, just to be funny because it's got teeth, you can fit 4 hiking backpacks. And in the 4 hiking backpacks, that's what I collected at the place that I'm going to show you guys. And that is what I collected at the place that I'm going to show you guys. After I looted this place, I remembered how much I loved it in the past and how necessary it is for me to show you guys. Because a lot of you guys want a yellow hazmat suit to go into the radiation zone, you know, to face the NPCs. Then I got the Scar out as well with a bunch of stuff. I got weapon cleaning kits with a claymore mine, a toolbox and stuff like that, quest items. So yes, that is how I am going to buy me a cruiser. Now, if you'll excuse me, my guy's flippin' tired. He's going to eat some breakfast now. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump most of this loot in here. Get ready for the experimental phase. I don't really need the screwdrivers. Let's put my smartphone batteries in there. Put that in there. Put that in there. Put the crowbars in there. That's of course worth extra money, but I'm not focusing on that right now. So yeah, just putting my loot right. And I want to make 2 vegetable skewers. And very interestingly, you can see that this meat, this doe meat, that is completely spoiled. only has 1.4 grams of protein left. Okay? Completely spoiled meat. But once I cook it, once I put it over the fire, then those things will change. So I'm putting my salt and my black pepper there so that I'm ready. And I'm going to need 2 mushrooms. I did pick up 1 mushroom, but then I remembered I've got a bunch of mushrooms. So I'll use the same mushrooms for my vegetable skewer. So now all I'm going to do is take the grill off and get a bit of firewood here. Planks work perfectly to fuel a fire. There we go. And now I'm going to start with 2 vegetable skewers. Of course, this is the perfect combination to combat exhaustion, which is clearly a problem for me at the moment. And then after this, I'm going to make 4 meat skewers, because you always need double or sometimes even triple the meat skewers compared to the vegetable skewers, because when you eat 1 vegetable skewer it fills up 50% of your stomach. But when you eat an entire meat skewer, it only fills up 25% of your stomach. And the combination between the 2 of them recovers your exhaustion extremely fast, like 3 to 4 stamina units a minute. Okay? So if you're thinking that I've built up 57 stamina units, 57 exhaustion over an hour and a half, if I eat the meat skewer and the vegetable skewer, and I drink some tea, I can get up to 5, but let's just say 4, okay? With an entire meat skewer and 1 bite of a vegetable skewer, I can get 4 stamina units per minute recovery. Not this 2.5 per hour, 4 units per minute, which gives me 10 plus 4, which means I can recover all this exhaustion in 14 minutes without logging out of the game. Without logging out of the game. Now, the only reason I got less uses there is because the corn was low durability. Okay? But check this out quickly. Check this out quickly. See the meat? Only 1.4 protein. Remember that. Only 1.4 protein. But if I cook this rotten meat, oh, almost burnt myself to death. Let's see what happens then. Here comes the moment of truth. Two uses of 57 grams of protein. 2 uses of 57 grams of protein with rotten meat. Please do not tell the developers everything I help you guys with, they take away from us. Okay? Everything I help you guys with, like the scrap metal in the trucks and the locks in the wooden pellets. Yeah, I'm not angry about I don't really care about the enforced locks in the wooden pellets, but I do care about the scrap metal in the trucks, because that was a really nice quality of life update for you guys. But there we go. 2 rotten meats that only had 1.7 grams of protein left due to the durability being so low, right up to 2 uses of 57 grams of protein. So both uses gives you 114 grams of protein. that we got from rotten, spoiled meat. And if you check it, scorched, cooked excellently. Scorching, cooked excellently. You check this, cooked excellently. The vegetable skewer, cooked perfectly. Scorching, that means just nice and hot. It's nice and hot, and it's ready to eat. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when I eat an entire meat skewer and one use of a vegetable skewer. But then I'm going to top it up with some English tea. First, I'm going to make normal tea for those of you that don't like milk in their tea. But I like milk in my tea, so I'm going to make one normal tea and one English tea to show you how it helps you, how much more it boosts the exhaustion recovery when you add English tea or normal tea to your entire meat skewer and one use of vegetable skewer. So we're just going to take off the meat again. Make sure the fire is nice and hot with another plank. There we go. Take this, put it over the fire. Grab the pot. Put the pot over it. And then you take the pot, tea. What is this? Tea? Oh, that's the English tea. Okay, so this is the tea that doesn't require any milk. It's just normal tea with a little bit of lemon. Very, very quick. Very, 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 very quick. There we go. You can see there 2 uses of 50 carbs, 50 grams. You can see the protein is milligrams, fat is milligrams, giving me 264 milliliters of water, but 50 grams of carbs. Okay. Now we go to the pot again and we do English tea, which is my kind of tea because it takes milk, sugar, water, and tea. And that's definitely herbal tea, guys. That's definitely green tea. Look at that box. Look at that box. That is some healthy tea right there, guys. That is some healthy tea right there. There we go. Now I want you to see. Gonna put the fire out here. Now I want you to see what happens with our exhaustion change. And we can even lie on the bed to boost the exhaustion change. Okay. So at the moment, we're sitting with 2.7. You can see there at the bottom. Okay, you can see there, look where my mouse is. Look right at the bottom. Consumption, and if I hold control, the consumption is changing by 2.5 stamina units an hour. Just because of what I've got in my body at the moment, which is a bit of rice. But if we eat one, this is the vegetable skewer. So if we just eat, I'm going to start with the lowest one. Like the meat gives you the least. So we're going to eat the entire meat skewer. We're just going to fill up about 25% of our stomach. At the moment, it looks like a little bit more than 30%. But it doesn't matter. It's way less than the vegetable skewer, and we're eating the entire skewer. We're eating the entire meat skewer. Okay, so now you can see it has jumped up to 1.6 stamina units a minute. It's fluctuating between like 60 stamina units an hour and 1.1 stamina units a minute. Now we boost it with one use of the vegetable skewer. That's going to fill up our stomach a lot more. Like it's only one vegetable skewer. But we were at 30%. And look at that. We're already more than 30% with one vegetable skewer. Okay, that fills up our stomach with quite a bit. And now when we go to exhaustion, it's gone up. Now it's hovering between 2 and 2.5 stamina units a minute, which is about 120, 150. It's about 150 stamina units an hour. And then we top it up with some tea, which there's not a major difference between the two of them. I know you guys like this tea, so I'm going to drink the tea without milk. And that will fill up our stomach nicely. Like, you never want to go over 90%, you know, but it's going to fill up our stomach very, very, very nicely. And now we are getting to 3.5 stamina units a minute. I'm wondering if the milk helps a lot. So let me take a sip of my English tea, because my English tea contains milk. So maybe the milk helps a lot. But you guys can see the combination of everything we've eaten. Plus 1,400 calories per hour. You know, and then plus 960 milliliters of water per hour. So now when I added the English tea, we're getting to 4. You know, that 4 mark that I spoke about. And now we boost it by resting, because resting also boosts your exhaustion rate. And now we are averaging at about 4 stamina units a minute, which is recovering our stamina, our exhaustion at a massive rate. Look at that, 52.2, 52.1, 52.0, 51.9. Okay, so within about 15 to 20 minutes. And the thing is, when I run, okay, even if I run now, I'm only going to be burning 54 stamina units per hour. But I'm recovering, if I'm recovering 4 stamina units a minute, I'm recovering about 240 stamina units an hour. So I'm still recovering, even though I'm putting my character under pressure. But the main purpose of me still being awake at 7 a.m. in the morning is so that it's daytime and you guys can actually see what I'm doing. And because in the previous masterclass videos, we did do a perfect analysis of... I just want to put this fruit away. We did do a perfect analysis. Turn on. Let's put, okay, I don't think I need to put the tea in there, but in any case, I'll keep a vegetable skewer and a meat skewer on me. Yeah. Okay, then we just turn that off. Keep it fresh. And then, I don't know, I'm in a little bit of a hurry here. So I'm just going to drop all these things in here. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a hurry. So let's just drop all these things in here because we need space to add the logs that we always add for extra weight. We're not going to need a lot of logs. So I think that's enough for logs. So the exact experiment that we did do is we looked at our exact current strength stats, which is 5.01985 at the moment. And we looked at our exact constitution, which is 4.93528 at the moment. And what we did is we cut up the bushes to get as close to our max gear weight as possible. And we're going to do that again. And then we're going to drive the exact route. We are going to drive the exact route that we drove last time. I'm going to drive perfectly east. I'm going to follow that same road, do all the zigzags, get onto the tar road, drive all the way to the trader. And once we hit the middle of the trader, I'm going to see what that change is. Because if they have boosted the strength and constitution gain, and I do the exact same exercise, last time we gained 800. Sorry, I just want to get my pen. In the last video, we gained 800 XP, 800 points in strength, and we gained 600 points in constitution with a one-way trip. Okay, now I'm sitting at, okay, so the new test, I'm just going to write here new. With the new test, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm sitting at 5.0199. Okay, we don't have to count the other stuff because, no, we can put the other zero there, it's fine. And then the constitution is, I don't care if it lowers a bit, but in any case, that's 4.9352. 9352. Okay. Now, the one thing you must remember is when I did the calculation, I didn't take that fifth number, the fifth number or the last number on the right. I didn't take that into calculation. I just read the number as 4.9352 because to gain a point in an attribute is 100,000 points. Okay. As you can see, we are going to hit 100,000 points on constitution because we're sitting at 93,524. So I am correcting myself right now as I speak. We have to take the extreme right number into consideration to get the exact amount that we got last time. Last time we got 800 points. And here we're sitting on 1,990 out of 100,000 points to get to 6 strength. Okay, so when I get to the trader, if they did nothing with the strength and constitution gain and all this hype about gaining more strength and constitution, because the numbers are changing, will be false. The only way that the placebo effect that these new numbers are giving us, and I'll explain why the numbers are different when I get to the trader, but if the numbers are true, then strength gain has increased by 2.5. Okay, so instead of gaining 800 points, we are actually supposed to gain about 2,000 points. If the placebo effect of you gaining strength faster is true. And then with the constitution, they haven't really increased that, so I'm expecting about the same 600 points there. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same route. I'm going to fill myself up with these logs until I get to 53 kilograms, because I always do the test with 1 kilogram less than my max weight. And let's see what happens. Let's see what is true and what is not true. Did the developers pull wool over our eyes? Or did they give us a bonus with gaining these skills? Let's find out, shall we? Let me just make sure my numbers are roughly the same. Okay, now that number went up to 2006. And the constitution is currently sitting at 935. 93532. So we actually gained a little bit of it back. Okay. So last time we did this exact test, we gained 800 points in strength. So if nothing changed, we'll be sitting at, instead of 2006, we'll be sitting at 2806. And instead of sitting at 93,500, we should be sitting at 94,100 if nothing changed. And this whole we're leveling up attributes faster because the numbers have changed. Let's see. True test with 53 kilograms on back. Starting right now. See you at the trainer. I will be managing my stamina exactly the way I managed my stamina with the previous test. As you guys can see, it is locked at the max strength gain and the max constitution gain at the current moment. Okay, you can see that number isn't moving. Max strength gain, max constitution gain. Still the exact same beautiful route as before. With the exact same stamina management, where I don't stop once. So the numbers, the test is precisely the same to the T. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen, moment of truth. Is it a placebo effect that is influencing everyone to believe something that does not exist? Or are they right? And you're gaining strength way faster than before. We're going to stop at the exact same place. Moment of truth. We were sitting at 5.02006, so 2,000 experience points. Now we're sitting at 2,486. That means we only gained 480 experience points in strength compared to 800 points before the update, because I did this test before the update. So that's like 40% less than what we earned before the update. Although the change rate says we're earning 2.5 times more strength, why are we actually earning less? I'll tell you that now. And if you go to Constitution, Constitution was on 93532. Okay, so 3,532. 3,532. Okay, so 3,532. So that's 400. It's about 380. Okay, roughly, guys. I don't want to rip out a calculator. Okay. 3,530, roughly. Sorry, 3,530, roughly, you know? And now it's 3,917. You can take the 10 off, so that's like 400 minus 10 is 390, plus 390. Where last time, we earned 600 points in Constitution before the update. So it is completely a placebo effect. And now your biggest question is, but Luth, when I max out my strength, previously my max change rate, where it says change, plus 0.000, last time my change rate, the max change rate I could get on my strength was like 38,400, 0.38,400. But now it says plus 0.84,000 or 85,000. That is like 2.5 times more. How can it be less? I'll explain that to you now. The only thing that they haven't changed, and that isn't a placebo effect, is your dexterity. Although, now ignore the dexterity change. We didn't look at dexterity in the previous test because that changes whether we're hungry or not hungry. And you can see by the dish we ate, whatever we ate there, we ate 1 complete meat skewer, 1 vegetable skewer, and 2 sips of 2 different teas. Look where we're sitting after we put our character under pressure. That's nothing. While we were putting our character under pressure, we lost 32 stamina units of exhaustion while we were active. Now, when you look at let's say you're hungry, you only got 10% energy, then you will see your dexterity change rate went from 0.24 to 0, like it was at 0.24 before the update. After the update, it's 1.02, 4 times more. I can tell you now, although that number is 4 times higher, there is no change to dexterity from before the update or after the update. I've already tested that for you guys. I did a little test off, without recording it, because I remembered that I forgot to test the dexterity, and I did a little test after the update. So there's no change in how fast you're gaining dexterity before the update and after the update. Now, your biggest question is, Luth, how is that possible if the numbers say your dexterity is increasing 4 times faster? Well, ladies and gentlemen, all the developers did is, instead of it being IRL or real time. So as you know, in game, the time goes by 4 times faster than it goes by in real life. Okay. So 6 hours in game is equivalent, or 24 hours in game is equivalent to 6 hours in real life. So you actually have 4 in-game days for every 1 real life day. So the reason that your dexterity change said 0.24 per day is because that was in-game. Okay? Which meant that your dexterity is climbing at 4 times that speed when it comes to a real day. And people were getting confused with the change rate per day. People were asking the developers this, and people were asking me on stream, this per day, is it in-game day or like real day, my day, IRL day, real life day? And they felt that confused people because people were saying like, this is not in-game day. Like if you say per day in-game, it should be in-game day, but I'm not getting those results. So the developer said, okay. Well, I don't like people were just confused. I think most people wanted to calculate their gain with an IRL time, with real time, not in-game time, real time, because that will simplify it for them. So what the developers did is, since the in-game day is 4 times faster than a real day, they just made that change per day. They changed that to a real day. a real day in your life. Not the game, the guy sitting behind the PC. That change rate is now how much you will gain per real day, which is 4 in-game days. And since the plus change per day was previously, the info you got previously was, it told you every 6 hours you're going to gain 0.24 dexterity if you're maxing out your dexterity for a whole in-game day. And the reason that your dexterity's change rate is now 4 times higher is because they changed it to a real day. So they told you now, okay, if you max out your dexterity for 24 hours in real life, you will gain 4 times the amount of dexterity that you would have gained in a in-game day, which didn't change anything. That doesn't change anything. That just means instead of training your dexterity for 6 hours, you trained your dexterity now for 24 hours. And that's why you gained 4 times more, but you're spending 4 times the amount of time to gain that dexterity. I hope this makes sense for you guys. Okay? It's plain and simple. The change rate was in-game, which is 4 times faster than real life. That's why it said 0.24. Now the change rate is real life. So that's why it's saying over a complete day, this is the change rate. But because the reason the dexterity change rate is 4 times higher is because in a real day, you're going to experience 4 in-game days. So it must be 4 times higher to be the same change rate. Now, this is where the placebo effect knocks you off your feet. The strength, because it says 0.85, everyone thought they're gaining 2.5. They're gaining strength 2.5 times faster. No. Because they changed the per day calculation from in-game to real life, for you to gain the same amount of strength in an in-game day, when the change rate is calculated on a real day, you were supposed to gain 4 times the max strength. So just like dexterity went from 0.24 to 1.02, strength should have gone from 0.28 to about roughly 1.6. So to keep your strength gain the same as what it was before the update, your change rate should have been 1.6, where it's actually just, or 1.6, where it's actually just 0.85 now. So they actually nerfed strength. They slowed it down by 40%. And if you look at constitution, the max constitution gain previously, before the update, was also calculated on an in-game day, and that max was 1.08. Okay? But that confused people, because they were like, I'm not gaining 1 constitution if I max out my I'm not gaining a whole point of constitution when I ride my bicycle for an entire 6 hours, which is a whole in-game day. And then the developers realized, okay, we understand why they're getting confused, because they think, because those calculations were calculated on an in-game day over a 6-hour period, they are getting confused, because now they think if they just ride their bicycle for 6 hours, they'll gain a whole point of constitution. But they're not gaining a whole point of constitution. So the whole way the change rate is working confuses them, because the change rate on dexterity looks right, but the change rate on constitution does look right, and the change rate on strength does look right. So then they just said, let's fix this, because the change rate on constitution was actually calculated over a 24-hour real life day. So for you to gain a whole point in constitution, you didn't have to ride your bicycle for 6 hours IRL, which is a whole in-game day. You were supposed to ride your bicycle for 24 hours IRL, which is 4 in-game days. And then you'll gain a whole point of constitution. And then they just said, okay, well, we need to stop confusing them and just change all the changes rates to IRL days, because some of them were calculated on in-game days, and some of them, like the dexterity was calculated on in-game days, but the constitution was calculated on real life days, and the strength was completely confusing. So, they probably had complaints about that, or it confused them. And then they just said, okay, let's just make everything, calculated on a real life day. So to gain, for example, if you look at the change rate now on strength, it says you can gain 0.85, which is 85,000 points. You can gain 0.85,000 points in a day. So if you max out strength for 24 hours in real life, you will gain 0.8 strength. And if you max out your constitution for an entire day, you will gain 0.72, where it previously was 1.08. So they nerfed constitution the most. The one skill that everyone was complaining about, they nerfed that the most, because they only removed about 40% of your original strength gain from before the update, but they removed about 50%. Or yeah, also around 40%, okay? If I'm looking at the numbers now, they removed 40%, so you are gaining 40% less strength with this new revamp, and you gain 40% less constitution with this revamp. But your dexterity change rate is exactly the same as it was before the update, because the dexterity change rate was always calculated on an in-game day, where the constitution gain was not calculated on an in-game day. And that's what confused everyone. Like they told the developers, if I max out my dexterity for 6 hours, which is an in-game day, I do gain 0.24 dexterity. But if I max out my constitution for 6 hours, which is an in-game day, I don't gain 1.08 constitution. So what the flip is going on? And then the developers saw, okay, we completely stuffed it up. Dexterity was, our calculations, were set that dexterity's change rate was calculated over an in-game day, but the constitution change rate was calculated over a 24-hour real-life day. And that was the same with strength. So they just equalized everything. Nobody has to be confused anymore. Everything is being calculated over a 24-hour period, so that when you max out your change rate, you will gain that change rate over a 24-hour period. But this whole placebo effect about everyone telling you strength is boosted. Even I told my community strength was boosted. And then someone came into my stream and said, no, they just, changed it from in-game time to real life time. And it just clicked. It just clicked. Because although I thought that they boosted the strength and constitution, when I played on the Masterclass and saw how slowly my strength and constitution was going up, I thought to myself, if you zero, like we take the max strength gain. If you say, I'm going to change your strength gain from 0.38 to 0.85, that's like saying to me, you can drive your car at 60 kilometers per hour previously, but now you can drive it at 150 kilometers per hour now. People, I will clearly see that. It will be impossible to notice that massive difference. But I didn't. I actually experienced the opposite. Because I play on the Masterclass every day, I actually felt a decline in how long it's taking me to get to 5 strength. Because remember, I got to 4.9 strength before the update. So I knew exactly roughly how long it takes me to gain 0.1 strength. Because, I took my strength from 4.5 to 4.9 before the update. And then after the update, all I had to do was get my strength from 4.9 to 5. And I had an idea of how long that would take because I've been doing it for the last month. And then I saw it took longer, and I felt it took longer. And that's why I needed to do this test. Now you guys know the right information. And the sun has come up in my house, so it's 7:30 a.m. I'm going to see how long this video is, and if I can fit in that loot spot that I want to showcase to you quickly, I will. But what I have to do now is ride the bicycle back. And because I don't want to bring the quad gear and then buy the cruiser, and then I have to, drive the cruiser back to the base and then come, run back here and drive the quad back to the base. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pedal back to the base with a bicycle, load all the stuff on my character that I feel will earn me $20,000 to buy the cruiser, and then I'll just run here with that gear or those quest items that will earn me $20,000, and then I'll see if I take the cruiser directly to that point. But you guys will know whether this video ends or not. So let's find out.